Content warning. The following show contains smoking, potty mouth language, fictitious discussion of violence, and a few other things that might make people uncomfortable, like poorly pronounced words, accidental misplacements of words, and the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. Okay, dude, you're going a little too far on that. Well, hey, you know what? We said something, so let's just get on with it. All right? Can we just get on with it? All right, fine. On with it. You really got to work on that intro. Seriously, got to do that. Yeah, do it for me. Hey everybody, what is the word? What's going on? How you feeling? How you feeling? I am so sorry that we're late. I gotta say, man, this computer thing is just—it's a thing, guys. It is a thing, you know. But welcome to the hobby hall. All right, we are doing the thing. We are absolutely doing the thing, and it's working great. And yeah. And, so yeah, this is some stuff that we are on, a whole bunch of other stuff. You know, I was going to be saying that myself. Let's get down with the Decopage. Down with the Decopage. But you know what? I decided not to be, that guy. This is, oh, wait. There we go. Okay, we got that one going right now. All right, that was the thing. And welcome to the hobby hall. How you guys doing out there? This is Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer. How you guys doing out there? And welcome to the hobby hall. Why are we doing a hobby hall today? Because unfortunately, my co-host for Bustin' a Recap and all of that stuff was not able to come down. And since we already talked this week about the stuff that we were going to be talking about with DW, I figured, you know what? You guys will get 2 days. 2 whole days of hobby hauling. That's right. But today is only going to be an hour. Or roughly about an hour. You know, roughly about an hour. We're doing the whole thing there on that front. And of course, after we get all this stuff down, yeah. So, today, I wanted to bring up some really fun stuff and show you guys some of the stuff that, we talk about and get everything set for the other stuff. However, today we are going to be doing some really fun stuff. But let's get to the announcements first, because we always got to do the announcements and all that. So today, we're doing Down with the Decopage. I would have used that song, but honestly, I don't know if those guys will come after me if I do. So that's fine. Now, first off, I want to thank all of you guys for showing up today, because seriously, I do this for y'all. I apologize for being a half hour late. Alright, so real talk, okay, and I mean, real talk. I literally got in and I'm like, alright, now we're going to push the button. And sure enough, that was when OBS or whatever it is that we're using said, you know what, you ain't got no cameras. None. No cameras. Not my webcam, not my production cam, none of that. We just all quit on it. So I had to fix that real quick. And that took about a half hour, as you guys can see. So we're here, we're back, we're doing all of that stuff. And we've got something very special planned for you guys. I know the music is loud today. That's what we're doing. The music is going to be a little loud. Because, yeah, that is... Alright, so we got all that. Cool. Alright. So... Oh, wow. Now it's showing all of my capture devices. So that's all nice. So, yeah. Yeah, we got all that stuff going today. Turned down the music. Got all that stuff. So... If y'all want to get a hold of me, feel free to talk to me right here in the chat, right there. Yeah, just like Clever Little Vixen is doing right there. And of course, let me see here. I'm gonna turn down this music. Yeah, to about there. Isn't that fun? So yeah, we're gonna be doing all that. And of course, you guys can totally send me an email over at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. You can also hit me up on all them social medias, all that other stuff. Now that we got all that out, I want to thank our patrons. All right, our patrons are the guys that keep us afloat, like Laura Holton, Shaylee Watson, Jennifer Kroll, Noel Olheiler, Glenn Couch, Christopher Chalmers, Joseph Hines. All you guys, yeah, do your thing. All right, just do your thing. Thank you so much for being there. And of course, if you guys did not know, you guys can easily subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, all that stuff. If you're watching here on Twitch, then we appreciate you. And use your Amazon Prime account to subscribe to the channel, because I am literally here 5 days a week. Okay, that is seriously a thing that I'm here doing 5 days a week, and I would really like it if more people showed up, and Mr. Twitch would like it if y'all would use your Amazon Prime subscription to subscribe. That way Jeff Bezos pays them, and you guys don't have to pay anything extra. But if you want a tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 subscription, hey, I'm always happy for the support. And of course, you guys can offer Patreon, which is in shambles right now. And for my patrons, I'm sorry. I'm working on that as much as I can. And of course, my camera just died on me again. So, all right, there we go. We're back now. And yeah, so this really shouldn't be that big of a problem. We're using a faster encoding preset. It's like it's all overloaded. I'm like, how? I'm at 720 and 30p. If that is overloading this, then I need a new video card. And the fact is, I do need a new video card. But outside of that, regardless of my woes, guess what, guys? We got merch. What? And right now, the merch store at TeePublic is having a sale of 35% off. So yeah, check it out. Let's check that out. That's right. So our normal coffee mugs that normally go for $16 are going for $11. Now is the time to pick one up, because if y'all are like me, and I think you might be, y'all like drinking coffee. But guess what? It's also hot. It's super hot. It's super hot out there. So pick up a tank top, you know. And they don't just come in white and blue. That's just on the thing. Once you click on the thing, you can totally be like, what? They come in all these colors? Our t-shirts come in many, many, many more colors than white and blue. All right. You can always go. Yeah, look at all that stuff. You can go for the white shirt with the Back in the Deck logo. Now our color is blue here, but you can get them in the black. All right, you can get them in the dark gray. I'm actually working on the black tee with the white logo as an homage to my mentors here. Of course, if y'all like that green because you live in California and certain stuff is legal, there we go. You guys can do all that stuff. And of course, we got the female fit ones because, well, female fit, well, females are built different than men, and they take that into account. So check out all that jazz. Now, who is here in the chat? I want to see who's up in the chat. What is going on? Alicidra, Commander Root, Elizabeth is Nickable, Neon Arlecchino, Santa Claus's Gift, Xanathades, Clever Little Vixen. Thank all you guys for being down here. And I am so happy that Xanathades decided to join us like hardcore. And they joined the Patreon too. Thank you so much. Or Sam. So, what are we doing today other than ruining the day when OBS is going, hey, your computer doing the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get you, but it's okay. I will be uploading my copies of this stuff to the Patreon over the next month, and my copies are intended to be so look at all that. But I'm talking about today that we are down with the Decopage. Down with the Decopage! Because I know a lot of people, right? I know a lot of people, and a lot of people that I know love, love playing games and love playing these games and stuff. And I love them for it. I mean, it's really good stuff that's going on. So, what am I doing with these games? Um, Now, one of the things that I do when I play tabletop miniatures games is I like terrain, all right? But one of the big things that I get kind of tired of is grim dark, all right? We're doing grim dark terrain, which means everything is gray, dirty, and hopeless. I like colors. When Marvel Crisis Protocol came out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build myself a board. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna build a board to play Marvel Crisis Protocol on. But how am I gonna do it? How am I gonna build the board? How am I gonna do this? And hopefully today you guys are gonna get some tips to make stuff easy for you guys. Now, for a long time I was in papercraft. Okay, started with me watching Reading Rainbow when I was a kid, and they had an episode on a book called Easy Origami. All right. And from then, I've been making paper cranes and paper dogs and just a whole bunch of paper stuff type of thing. This is really, like, seriously, one of the huge things that I'm into. All right? I'm really, really into that kind of thing. Mainly because paper tends to be rather inexpensive. Okay? Letting a couple of people with children know that we're here, by the way. Let's see, /BID_P. Check out today's project. So what am I doing? All right, well, when I said we're going to be doing terrain and all that stuff, I mean it, all right? But a lot of people, when they see terrain use, they see the big stuff, all right? And when I say big stuff, there we go. All right. And when I talk about the big stuff, I'm talking train sets. I'm talking all the stuff that you see as part of displays in stores. And of course, since we live in the 21st century, all right, we are talking about the stuff that you see that was put together by design team. Okay, we are seriously talking about the big stuff that has bunches of people, with art degrees building stuff that are good enough for movies, right? So what do we do if we're not those people? If we don't have the art disease, or art degrees and all that stuff. Art disease. What am I thinking? And this is one of the many solutions that I have come up with over the years. Now, a lot of people bring this up as like, well, it looks cheap, it looks this. And to them, I say, forget everything that you think gaming is about and let's just have some fun. And for those of you guys that do other stuff, okay, the techniques you're going to be learning today, and I mean this, are really applicable to other hobbies, okay? And I really mean that. The other hobbies that we're dealing with, I mean, I've been to a lot of places, and if you're making like custom furniture and all that stuff, the principles of today are the same, all right? The absolute same. I didn't know what it was called for a while. It was just something I did. This was just some stuff that I did when I was young. And now I apply it to the stuff I do now. And people are like, oh my God, that looks so good. And I'm like, oh, well, let me figure out ways to show people how to do it. And today, let's take a look. Today, we are talking about Decopage. Oh, what is Decopage? Decopage is doing this. Look at this. Essentially, these are the buildings that I made for my Marvel Crisis Protocol set. All right, got some toys down there. Now, this is the building that came with the set, and it needed painting and all that stuff. And of course, we got some model cars that I bought from the drugstore a little bit at a time. But these buildings are seriously the buildings that I put together, and I was using them for hero clicks for a bit as well, you know. And what I dig about them is that they're relatively easy to carry around. Um, and I will have them for sale in the Etsy store. And if you guys are at Decker Day, I will have one or two sets for sale. Okay? I'll have one or two sets of the boards and stuff for sale. I have been busting my butt actually making them. I'm looking for a specific display that I did just to show that this stuff is easy to do and it looks good, especially when it comes time to take pictures. Okay. I've always liked three-dimensional stuff, and I've always liked putting the stuff together. All right, but I've never actually been very good at it. So again, and these are some other Decopage stuff that I did for HeroClix. I did these years ago. Look at these things. Yeah, buildings, all that stuff. And that is what we're going to be doing today. Okay? And the reason for this is this really helps with immersion. All right? Oh, yeah, no, I'm not going to teach y'all how to make a cobbler, at least not today. So this is where we're at, and this is the type of stuff that we're going to be doing today. So if you guys have any questions, now would be the time. I know a lot of people don't like doing terrain because of all the painting and stuff. And today we're just going to do one building. Just one building so that we can do this, and hopefully we'll be out of here in the next 45 minutes. The materials that you guys will need are very, very, very simple. Talking really, really simple. Let's head over to the hobby hall real quick. And yeah, and I will show you everything that you guys will need for that. Okay. See? Told you we'd be right back. Yeah, that's right. It was Darkseid. It was Darkseid. I was fighting Darkseid. That's right, Neon. Okay, so for today's materials, you will need a printout of the art that you're going to be using. Now, I go all over the place, but you can easily download some free papercraft stuff from places. I'll find some links and I'll post them in Deckers on the book and in the Discord. So you're going to need printouts of those. Now, if you have a printer, like most people do, you know, it's a pretty simple thing. A pair of scissors, cut these out, some paint brushes, and of course, a bottle of Mod Podge. All right. Now, Mod Podge is a little expensive. I'm not going to lie. It's like this thing here is like $8. All right, which is more expensive than Elmer's glue. You can use Elmer's glue, and I will show you guys part of the techniques that you got to use. Mod Podge itself has a resin in it that makes it very strong, and it helps the ink not run. Now, I use my stuff. I printed my stuff up on I print my stuff up on an HP inkjet printer. Let me see if I can make this work a lot better so it doesn't look like, yeah, there we go. All right. See, y'all don't know the difference here, but that's okay. Oh yeah, that works a lot nice. All right, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Hang on, let me just that. There we go. All right. And of course, we need a building. Okay. Now this is one of the back in the deck buildings, and they fold. But again, this is stuff that you can use. You can already use this stuff, these techniques on tables. I've seen people decoupage entire tables, and I'm like, why'd you do it like this? And they were like, oh, well, I didn't feel like sanding and polishing and all that stuff. So I cut up a bunch of my old comic books, and there we go. And so we're doing some cool kitsch stuff. So the very first thing that we're going to do is we are going to size up our buildings, and we are going to cut out the stuff that we need, and we're going to cut them to size. So let's just see if I learned how to properly do this in the 5th grade and stay within the lines. The lines are our friends. We stay within the lines. Conform to the norm. Yeah, I know, I'm being silly, and I've got that right. You see, one of the things I got since I've been learning the game Carnival, which we'll talk about tomorrow, because I might be painting up a couple of minis from Carnival or some minis from One Page Rules that I printed up to play Carnival with. So that's the thing. Oh, hey, Camel Heart. Long time no see. I guess since I lost my old co-host, the show hasn't been as pretty. I get that. But yeah, so we got all this, and again, stay within the lines. The lines are our friends. Stay within the lines. Now, I used the program GAMP to size these to the proper size. If you guys want, let me know if you guys want me to show you guys how to use GAMP and size up the art that we use. But Decopage is one of my favorite techniques to use when it comes to painting or when it comes to building terrain, because it's actually pretty quick. So now we've got our pieces cut out. We're going to do one face of the wall, and then we're going to do the rest, but this is going to be easy. So what I got here, and this is my roof, so that's a thing. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is size up. Aha. Yeah, we're going to size this up to fit our corners. Okay, make sure that that it fits right. Now, this doesn't fit exactly right, but we got answers for that. All right. And that's the funnest thing about doing decoupage is you get to have an answer. All right. So we're just going to mark off. I suppose we need a pen as well. Do I have a pen around here? Yes, I do. All right. So I'm going to mark this off on the back and see if I can cut out a good spot. Now, when I'm cutting, I always like to make 2-ish marks and try and line them up. Okay? So line them up. Now, if you're thinking, dude, you cut off half a window. What's wrong with you? And you're right. I did cut off half a window, and there might be more of the window coming off. I haven't decided yet. All right. So now we're going to take this bit as well, and we're going to cut them to about the same size. Okay? Because what we got here is a 2-story building. So now that we got the 2-story building, cut off both sides. I could offset them, but nah. All right. So now that we got these walls cut to the size that we want them cut to, we now go in for we now go in for our Mosh Podge. Give it a shake, 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 shake your Mosh Podge, shake your Mosh Podge, shake, 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 diddle, shake, 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 shake your Mosh Podge. All right, we want to make sure it gets one. It's really it. Now, a lot of people like using their canvas and stuff, but I just use the cap, as long as I make sure not to knock the thing over. And we gonna take a new brush. Now these brushes are slanted. If you can see, they're not cut to a they're not cut to a regular thing. It don't matter, because the Mod Podge is going to kill this brush. Kill it dead. Dead. All the way dead. All right? And that's fine. And now, we're going to put the Mod Podge. Now, why am I not pouring the Mod Podge directly onto whatever it is I'm decopaging? Well, simple. I don't know how much I'm going to use. And when it comes to using liquids, you can always take away, but it is a pain adding more. All right? So I'm going to get a good coat of Mod Podge on here, hoping against hope that I don't have many chunks, because the chunks are gonna show through. There's nothing you can do about it. So the best thing that you can do is to try and eliminate the chunks, because once they're in there, you're not gonna have a smooth surface. Okay, there we go. Get down with the decopage. Okay, now if you see, the Mod Podge is already kind of starting to do its magic and dry kind of quick. It's rather tacky. Okay, much like my clothing scents. All right, and now, yeah, that's all over. And with a lighter and lighter touch, we are literally just going to spread it out and try and get rid of as many brush lines as we can. Now that's in there. We're going to start with the top. And it's not a matter of slathering it on. Okay? What it is a matter of is placing it on. And we are going to iron out the kinks as we go, because the last thing we want are bubbles. So we're going to take another piece like our building, and we are just going to slowly pop it on like an iron-on. Okay, so there we go. That's on, that's in there, that's pretty secure. And then we're going to take our other piece of Mod Podge. Okay, make sure that's in there. And now we're going to add the bottom to the bottom. Now, you guys might be noticing, oh my god, there's a great big gap there. Don't worry, I got an answer for that. Okay, so now that we're on, boom. Okay, and my answer for that is simple. We have little pieces here that I printed up to fill in any gaps. And this is important. This is a really important step, because you're never going to get everything exactly right. Like, never. Now these things are kind of line things. They're actually part of the tops of the roofs. Okay, but we've got a bunch of them, so we gonna get a little bit creative, right? And we're gonna put a brick line in between the layers. And how do we do that? Well, we're just totally gonna make sure that with this we don't have, let me give you some contrast here. See that little white line? Well, we're gonna make it go away. Cutting little buildings, printed on printers. Grab your pair of scissors to make it look like dirt, but don't do it. Free. Okay, and now we take our Mod Podge, and this is my favorite part of the process, is you really can't add too much. All right, one of my crafting sins, one of my big crafting sins, is I am so used to not having enough that I use tiny bits. If y'all grew up in the hood or grew up poor, y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we've got those bricks there. Okay. Looks like we're gonna need 3 layers. I can live with 3 layers of that. So yeah, and we're just gonna place that on. Solid, brother, yeah. And now we're gonna cut out a few more. Okay, we've got these guys. There we go. Let me give myself a little more microphone. Cool. Make sure I'm plugged in properly. Yep. Thank you for that point, Camel Heart. Yeah. Now, rubbing too hard on it, the moisture in and of itself will rip up the paper. Now, again, this is just standard printing paper. All right, so if y'all are parents out there, this is something you can sneak in by printing up at work. I know it's weird that in the 21st century, I actually know people that don't have printers. I don't know how that works, but there it is. But here we go. That's coming in. Boom. Yeah, and we're doing the third. So again, what we really want is no negative space. Okay? The no negative space is really important. Because if we got negative space, then we're doing something, then that's gonna show up and it's gonna kill the immersion. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, again, if y'all been watching this week, y'all get the joke. So yeah, we just add a little more Mod Podge here, a little more Mod Podge there. Now, if you guys are noticing, yes, I'm putting the Mod Podge on the paper. That is part of the process, part of the technique, if you will. And here's another part of the technique. We are now going to add that second layer of brick on an offset. Okay, we're going to offset that second layer here. All right, so let me put this back proper and give you guys just a little bit closer of a look. There you go. So yeah, now that we got the Mod Podge on, we're going to offset this second brick to about here, not a little further. Offset, put it in the center, and boom, there we go. So once we have our bricks nice and offset, we're just going to press. And again, you don't want to press hard, okay? Because you're already, as the Mod Podge gets in there, it's going to change the nature of the paper, all right? And what do I mean by changing the nature of the paper? The paper is going to absorb and it's going to go, you know, it's going to start, it's really going to start offsetting itself in a way that we don't want it to. All right, it's going to start crinkling, and that's fine. All right, because see, there's another step on this. So when it does that, don't worry about it. Just take your finger and push it back in. Now for scrapbooking, there's this one thing that they use. It's like a little rolling pin, you know, and it's actually pretty sweet when I think about it. So now that we've got that last offset, yeah, I want to make sure my shadows are all in the same spot. And they're actually, since I didn't cut this totally straight, yeah. All right, it's in. It's down there, it's in. And there we go. We got the margin, we got the podging, okay? And now we got the decopaged. And now, just to make sure we get in there, here's the next part of decopaging that makes it very fun. We're now going to seal the top of that all the way in. All right? Just all the way in. Now, yesterday we talked about keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to playing games and stuff like that. All right? I will tell you honestly, a lot of gamers they do this thing, and I laugh because I was listening to a stand-up comedian today before the people that are saying, hire us to paint your house, came to my house. And they were talking about how whenever you get something you like, there's always somebody there these days to tell you the bad part about it. All right, I'm gonna let you guys know. Don't listen to those people. There will always be someone essentially trying to pee in your Cheerios. Okay, there's a lot of stuff I like. I like a lot of games, and it's funny because like one of my closest friends, in his defense, he does it for a living. Okay, his entire job is like, well, on page 110 he's eating peanuts, but on a page 114 he's wearing a hat. How do those two things link up? You know, so his job is to find flaws and point them out. And if someone who has materials before he does a good job, then he's out of one. So I give him a little bit of leeway in the sense of saying, all right, dude, knock it off. Instead of lose my number. You know what I mean? So yeah, there we go. Now I'm sure you notice the before and the after, right? The before and the after. You'll notice a higher level. Okay, I'm a little bit frozen up right now, but that's okay. This will fix because, yeah, something's not responding. Dried Cheerios are happy. Yeah. So let's see how this is looking. All right, yeah. You're cute, Neon. Dry Cheerios are happy Cheerios. I actually kind of agree, which is why I keep you around. Because we have a lot of things in common when you're not trolling. Okay, so we're just going to add a little bit more Mod Podge to our cap. Yeah. So, and again, the important thing is to make sure that your Mod Podge isn't too chunkified. I get chunkified. Okay. And we just do whole surface. All right, and that's what we're going to do. We're just de-chunkifying the whole surface. It's funny, it's saying my encoding is overloaded, and I can't change that while we're live, so I'm gonna have to look into it. And it's really important to do one side at a time, trying to make absolutely sure and absolutely clear that your sides are smooth, not too buckled. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of buckling down here, which is fine. It's not the end of the world as we know it. Okay, I'll feel fine about it. If we get a little buckling underneath, which does happen from time to time, we just add a little Mod Podge down here. For those of you guys that don't know what this stuff is, it's essentially Elmer's glue. But it's got an additional ingredient that has the effect of waterproofing, or waterproofing better than dried Elmer's glue does. And that's why it's so expensive. Ah, see, had a little chunky. I had to take that off there. There we go. Isn't that fun? And now we'll just open this and we are going to take off all of the hangover edges. Okay, just the hangover edges have got to come off. So we take our scissors and we cut off the spare edges. All right, now that seems like it would take a while, and in all honesty it could, and this is one of the reasons that I work so often with box cutters and razor blades. Okay, I'm better with single blades than I am with scissors. But yeah, so there we go. Okay, there we go on that. All right, and essentially what we got here is a Mod Podged building side. Okay, now once we make sure that all this stuff is dry and stable, we can add as many layers of Mod Podge on top of those initial layers of Mod Podge as we want. Okay, but what's really important is to make sure that the previous, like that first layer, is nice and dry, because if it's not dry, when we start adding more layers to it, what can happen is the chemical process known as reactivation. And we don't want reactivation. Essentially, it gets wet again. And once it gets wet again, yeah, Once it gets wet again, then it's got to dry all over again. It gets sticky. We don't like that. We don't like that at all. So once this gets relatively dry, and I know you're like, oh my God, your edges are all messed up. Don't worry, I've incorporated that into my design because I'm always about understanding my limitations. Yeah, but there we are. We have a building and it looks pretty cool. So we're gonna do the second side and then we're gonna do a roof, okay? Because, my OBS disconnected and is now reconnecting. So we'll see. So what we're gonna do here, there we go. You're reconnected and stuff should be working. I may have to uninstall and reinstall OBS over the next couple of days. So we're gonna fold this in half so that we have somewhere. All hell breaks loose. Let's see. What am I gluing the facade onto? Oh, well, this facade or the facade. Yes, we're back. What I'm gluing this facade to, camel heart, is masonite. This is the stuff on the back of a clipboard. It is my preferred medium. It is what I tend to use. So now that we got all this, boom. Now, I'm sure you're noticing, hey, that isn't exactly, my stuff isn't exactly, what's the term? Isn't exactly even. It doesn't have to be because I'll make up more brick layers here. Okay? Yeah, I'll make up more brick layers in here. And as long as those brick layers line up, which they will, then I'll be good. But I got something for this. I already got something for this. I have a plan for all of this to make this stuff look a little cooler. All right, just a little cooler. And when I say a little cooler, I mean just that. It's gonna be all right. All right, just like the song says, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. Okay. So now that we got this stuff, and again, Mod Podge, this stuff is like magic. So we're just gonna set that down there. Okay. And now we're just gonna rub it in. Okay. Rubbing it in. Make sure that that's there. Awesome. Okay. And now we're gonna take the second one. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing. The decopaging is so easy and so quick, guys. It's really easy, it's really quick, and it's pretty therapeutic, you know. And when I say therapeutic, it is medium effort, high reward. Okay, but as we talk about on every single episode of this show, every episode, every time I'm crafting with you guys and I'm saying, hey, check this out. And this is for you younger viewers out there, you people with kids. It's good to have high standards for yourself and for your work. But when your standards start getting in the way of your enjoyment, then it's time to reconsider your standards. You know, I've always been really big on what am I doing this for? What is my purpose? You know, there we go. Yeah, look at that. And now we got this going. It's time to cut out another one. But can you woo, woo, woo? There we go. So yeah, we got this going. And see, this decopaging technique, all right, this little technique can be used in 100 different ways. If you guys end up printing up, say, scatter terrain, stuff from overhead, or if you want to make your own little tokens, all right, it's easy. to print out your pictures and use this technique on circular pieces of wood, on metal, just on a lot of different things. I'm working on a magnetizing technique for slanted rooftops that I'm really looking forward to. So now that we've got that out, what we're going to do here. Okay, now I'm sure you guys noticed this show is about an hour long. We're at about the 50-minute mark. Actually, we're at the 45-minute mark. And I've already got half a building done, practically. All right? So, just gonna put all that in. Make sure that is nice and lined up, or as lined up as we can have it. And then, a little bit of a snip. Snippers. Okay? And then, we're just gonna snip off part of this, give it more of a natural-esque look, although it's gonna be covered, it's not a big deal. And snippers right there, okay? And now we grab our little snippers and we're gonna snip that off, but we need more. Okay? And that's fine because we're gonna be doing something similar on the other side. Now, with this building, I could make an entry door and an exit door on both sides, but I don't want to. That's why I printed up so many extra. There we go. Yep, and since I'm only doing 3, I don't even need all of it. Okay, but since it has been some time, we need to lay down a little bit more Mod Podge. Okay. And if you guys are wondering, yes, I'm going to be opening up an Etsy store along with the merch where you guys can buy this after I've put the work in already. Okay. There we go. A little bit off cut. Got that in there. Boom. And look at that. That's down there. That's lined up. Give it a snipper. Now we got to give it a snipper on the other side. Oh, look, it broke in almost exactly the right place. And that is great. A little bit of a snipper. All right. Of course I didn't do it as a straight line. And that's fine. I don't care. Again, my toys. I do what I want. Okay. Now that we got all that in there. Yep. Got that in there. And what's important when you're doing your Mod Podge is to stroke with the grain of your seams. Okay. My seams go this way. So I'm stroking with that grain. If I go back and forth, I risk curling up the paper. Okay. So when you got a seam in the way, there you go. All right. So I'm gonna protect those. They're in. Those are nice and protected. And now we can just slather it on. Okay. And the next part we're going to be doing is the roof. Okay. Because I want you guys to have at least a little bit of a movie magic sense of what this is going to look like after it's done. And again, I'm not going to show how to make these buildings because that's the back in the deck technique. And if y'all can make it for yourself, why would you want to buy them from us? But yeah, so those are in. Just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. So light touch to get rid of those marks. Okay. And now, look at that. We have buildings. All right. And I like having buildings. Okay. Like having buildings. This is some good stuff. And now next, let's get this roof because I haven't cut out the roof yet. So we've got our roof template, and we just gonna cut out one. Okay. And this is gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. I've been waiting to say that for a long time. But yeah, we're gonna cut this out so that we can be down with the decoupage. Now, I printed these out. I did some size adjustments or whatever, for specific reasons. Now, as I was saying a little bit earlier in the show, I was brought up without many resources, so it's hard for me to fight off that whole, no, you're gonna use every single ounce, every shred of paper. I don't want to see any, yeah, you know? But it ain't that critical. It really is not that critical. Okay? So yeah, so with this whole thing, we gonna do that. There we go. Okay? Yeah, it ain't that critical. There's gonna be scraps, there's gonna be cleanup. That's just how it goes, y'all. Just how it goes. But again, since the decoupaging technique is so quick, so efficient, and so easy, cleanup should be a snap. I mean, again, we've been here for about 50 minutes. Yeah, look at that. Decopage. And now we're just gonna, oh, I missed one little spot. And that's the spot I was holding it at. That's fun. Okay. So now that I got all that stuff in there, we're gonna try and line up the middle with the middle of the thing. So roughly about there. Hang on. Boop. Yeah, roughly around the middle. Pop, pop. And now we're gonna push from the middle out. Okay? It really is that simple. But we're gonna do a little bit different of a technique now before we get to the slather. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of this stuff that's just all over the place. And that's fine. One of the reasons I did this in this manner is because I want to decoupage the rim just to give a little character. Okay? A little bit of character. So we're just going to take that little surface. All right. And now we're going to fold it over and decoupage it there. And as you can see, it holds up on its own. Now this is what's really important. We're gonna go in to this little area and we're gonna make a tiny incision there at an extremely shallow angle. Okay? Extremely shallow angle. So that we can decoupage in here too. Okay, add our little bit of glue and just wrap that around the other side. Okay, and we're going to do the same on the other side. Now, as you can see, I am no good at cutting straight lines. I suck at it pretty badly. If you guys were to see my workshop, you would understand why. But I'm a wizard, not a craftsman. So, there we go. Going all the way in. And disclaimer, as I do for every single one of these projects, you get out of it what you put in. So if you put in a lot of time and attention and care, then you'll probably get something pretty cool. I, on the other hand, don't. Now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to rub here gently just to make sure my air bubbles are out and that it has a whole lot of gripping surface. We're going to take our stuff around the side, make sure that that's in there proper, good and proper. Okay. And then we're just going to do it again. We're going to do that on all the sides. And if you're wondering about this hangover, we're going to do with the hangover the same thing all of your parents wanted to do with theirs, which is just cut it off. We're going to be like, hangover, nope, not today. No, thank you. Yes. And you're absolutely right. Heavy scissors really do help in cutting a straight line. There we go. And all the way across here. Doop, 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 doop. Okay. And we'll just cut, paste that in there. And done. Now, this is something that y'all know how I am with family. So this is something a family can do as a project if you have one sibling that can draw, one sibling that's good with figuring out printers, and another sibling that's good at this stuff. This is where there can be an extreme family team up. An extreme. I was born in the 70s. Meaning I was aware in the 90s when everything was extreme. And, you know, and then after that, the only major complications you'll have is who gets to play with it, whose turn is it, all that stuff. You know, since I made that so quick, I'm gonna just take a real quick shortcut here. And I'm gonna decoupage this down. Okay. Now again, if my skills were with scissors and not with, say, single-edged blades, there we go. Then you guys would see this a lot more neatly. But again, my toys, I do what I want. Stuff I put up for sale, I put in a lot more time and attention to. There we go. So we're just gonna deal with that. Put that down there. And see here, if it rips and stains, it's no big deal. It's the underside. We don't need it. We're not computers. We're not machines. So we don't have to aim for that level of precision. Okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. But as you can see, now we have a roof. All right. So when we put everything together that we worked on today, boom, we have, have a little flappy flap fold. Okay. And so now we've got a building with a roof. And look at that. And we can leave that there if we really wanted to, but I've got a couple of other things that I'm going to be doing with that. Because honestly, this is not bad. And I'm just going to take my decoupage and slather it on the top to insulate that. Now, here is the fun part, okay? And I mean this. You do the decoupage layer on 2, maybe 3 times, and then you can grab your rattle can full of varnish, okay? Matte varnish, clear coat, whatever it is. It costs like $6 at the hardware store. And you just put on a few layers of that. I used to be a really big fan of high gloss, but you can use matte or satin or whatever. A lot of modelers love using matte finish. Okay, I have an old friend who was really into 40K, who hated anything with a shine, even metal. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, you do your thing. And I get it, because he was going for kind of the Golden Dragon or the Golden Demon Award type paint jobs, which, you know, that standard was set by Games Workshop. And since I'm not a big fan of Games Workshop's business practices, I'm like, I paint them how I want. I do what I want. These are my toys. I'm paying for them. I'm spending the time to paint this stuff. Yeah, that has a square space enough for Dead Zone. Oh yeah. Yeah. The funny thing with Dead Zone, yeah, there we go. And this is a building. Look at that. Now, what's really funny is when I designed this stuff, you know, I have that little ticket tab there. Yeah, guess what? I tried gluing you down. I'm gonna glue you down one more time. One more time. I'm giving you one last thing, one last chance before amputation. Okay? I will cut you off. I will cut you off like you're my crazy uncle. All right? Actually, I don't have a crazy uncle. Actually, all of my uncles are crazy, but I got the cool, crazy ones that moved to Hawaii and started smoking pot. But yeah, and there we go. That is literally one of our buildings. And this, just to give you guys a reference here. Hey, look, it's a little mini. I'm going in the door. Okay. And we have our brick facade. We have a few windows. We have a roof. Okay. And again, once this dries up and I can flatten out the top as much as I want to, you guys can see the shine from the studio lights. All right. But once we have all that stuff in, then you can go in with your varnish and go shh, and then it will be much more protected from your friends and their never-ending bottles of Mountain Dew. You know, and yeah, that's it. And again, you can do this on a table. And again, once this is in, you know, once they were actually in, once everything is dry, you can literally, if you want to, cover this in varnish. If you're doing this with a table, once that outward layer of Mod Podge is dry, you would hit it with some kind of varnish, okay, to protect it from just about everything. And then you can pour resin over the top and you are good, okay? Yeah, my uncle in Hawaii isn't from California. He's from Oregon and Washington. So, but yeah, you can cover this. You can put this at the bottom of anything resin, and that will do you good. Okay. I mean, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, you can do with this stuff, and it is. Again, you can do an entire wall if you can keep the resin stable, you know, and all of that is up to you. I'm showing this for terrain, but the applications are only limited. They are only limited by what is in your imagination. And I hate saying stuff like that, guys. I really do. The only limitation is your imagination. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and I'm like, well, thank you. But no, the limitations are really come down to whatever projects you can think of. Okay. I will say anything solid that's not flexible. So, decopaging clothing, I haven't quite figured out how to do that. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying I haven't learned. You know, but yeah, I mean, you can use this technique, for stickers on your notebooks in school. You can use this technique, you know, you can put the sticker down, you know, and then you can decopage that sticker in place. And then cover the stuff with Mod Podge. And then maybe some gloss varnish. And you're good, you know. Now, this is not an endorsement, okay, for decopaging your homework to your desk in the class that has the teacher you don't like. Okay, trust me, there are much better ways to do malicious compliance that are less expensive and take less time. You know. But yeah, if you're fortunate enough to live in a place where you own or your parents own, you can use this technique for walls, closet doors. If I were more of a nerd, I would probably end up decopaging. Yeah, I would probably end up decopaging my kitchen counters or my kitchen cabinets. You know, filling them up with Jack Kirby art from my comic collection, magazine photos. You know, but again, there's really not much that this technique isn't applicable to and applicable for. Yes, shellac. That is one of the many names of this technique, is shellacking. But what's really important, and the reason that I go for Mod Podge, you could go for Elmer's glue, okay? I've done experiments with Elmer's glue, and if you're living somewhere that you don't have access to the Mod Podge, I get it. I totally get it. Not everywhere has everything. What you can do is use your Elmer's glue or your wood glue that you would get from the Home Depot, and you have to move slower, and whatever it is that you're trying to Mod Podge or Decopage rather, you'll have to wait about a day for it to dry. This is super duper important, okay? Because when you pull stuff off of a printer like an inkjet, that ink is still wet. So you put the liquid on this on top of the liquid of the printer, and all you are gonna get is a mess. Okay? And we're not trying to make messes. We're trying to make toys. You know? But yeah, and another thing I do, and the reason that I'm not really concerned, I may show you guys tomorrow, but I use this exact same technique when it comes to using foam. Okay, when I use my XPS foam for things like that, yeah, I have foam that I use, and getting it done like that, one, strengthens it up because of the glue and the resin and the waterproofing and stuff, and it also, and this is a really big and important thing, makes it a bit stronger. Okay, because there's a little thing I'll be doing with this to get rid of these ugly corners. Okay, because I love my design, but these corners, yeah, they could use a little work. Okay, and I have an idea for it already. So I am going to initialize my idea for it, and it's gonna look a lot better. It's gonna be very cool, and it's gonna be very cool for Decker Day on the 27th of August in Long Beach, California at Bono's Pizza. All right, that's right, I keep talking about it because I want you guys down there if you're in Southern California. I'm really excited, and this is the first event that I've actually put on myself from start to finish. And yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. There we go. All right, so yeah, now I have a building with 3 sides, and I have to decide whether or not I want a door on the back. I don't know if I want a door on the back. I might just want a flat wall like that. I haven't decided. But yeah, let's see. Is there any good way to add graffiti to those walls? Actually, yeah. Yeah, there are lots of different ways. What you could do is you can do a Google search for graffiti type art and print it up really, really small. Because here's one of the really fun parts to decopaging, okay? And thank you for reminding me of that. I may actually do it. I managed to get my hands on like posters and things like that. You can print them up really small, and that's the thing. You can add layer to layer to layer to layer to layer on top of Decopage as much as you want to. So you could take, focus. You can take a little thing here, you know, draw some stuff onto that, and then boom, you got a poster. If I were to say cut up this part, I could freehand, I could freehand in some of my own graffiti. Not that I advocate for doing graffiti and stuff like that, because vandalism is bad and K. And I can add it to the walls. The best part is that once we are set up with that initial layer, the Mod Podge and the Decopage here is a brand new surface. You'll be able to write on it, paint on it, draw on it, you can add graffiti. Once you add a bit of matte varnish to really get that in, then you can use inks and stuff if you want. I wouldn't, because it just looks tiled. It's not flat, or it is flat and it's not textured. But all of those things are possibilities, guys. And thank you for the question, Neon. That was actually a really good question. So your guys' thoughts, should I add on the back of it, should I add a back door? Should I not add a back door? I'll give you guys a couple of seconds to let me know, because that literally will just determine what the next thing I cut is. Am I gonna cut out a back door? Am I not gonna cut out a back door? Because this back wall is kind of blank, where these actually look like they're ready to play on, And honestly, they pretty much are. Does that work best with pens or paints? Does the moisture from pens reactivate the Mod Podge? Not once it dries, okay? Again, people that use these techniques are huge on Sharpies. If you've got those the micro tip Sharpies. Oh, what are they? Tech pens? Yeah. But the important thing is to make sure that it's completely dry. Now, the Mod Podge in and of itself on this level tends to take about 2 hours to completely dry. Okay, to dry to that point. And after that 2 hours, then go nuts. You want to spray paint, you want to use normal model paints, you want to use pens, go nuts. However, I will say with pens, specifically ballpoint, let's head back to the regular Wizard's Tower now. With ballpoint, be super careful, because we're back. Hey, specifically with ballpoints, if ballpoints are, well, most of us are a lot stronger with a ballpoint pen than, you know what? Since I'm making these for Carnivale, I'm gonna add a back door, because the back door can lead directly to the canal. And if I put the back door on a canal, I can pull a gondola up to the back door, and boom, there we go. Yay, a little bit of a story. Now, be careful with the ballpoint pens, because ballpoint pens can snag. All right, and the last thing we want is for our pen to do that kind of snagging thing. All right, because we're still dealing with paper, guys, and so these layers are strong, but they're super thin. All right, one would say they are paper thin. So when it comes down to that, you can use a ballpoint pen. I always recommend a felt tip, because you can have a lighter hand. But the answer to that is to thicken up your protective layer with the Mod Podge or your glue, or as I said, matte finish that you get in a rattle can. Okay. And again, that stuff, you can buy varnish from Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever box store you have. If you can afford it, get a fountain pen, right? If you can afford it. And if you really want to make it look fountain pen-esque or quill-esque, you can always dip a toothbrush, or not a toothbrush, but a toothpick into really thin ink. Okay. But I'm not gonna say your options are limitless. No, your options are yours. But there's always a little something that you can do on those fronts. Okay. And they work. These options, they work really well. Matte finish. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Matte finish acts a lot more like primer than gloss finish. Gloss finish is more smooth on the molecular level, which means your paint will have very little to grab onto. Now, we'll talk about that more in depth, and I'll have props to really explain what this stuff is about tomorrow. Okay. Because again, there is science behind a lot of this stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, the science behind this stuff, the science behind this stuff is a good reason that I'm into it, and I mean that because I love science, I love chemistry. I learned how to cook because I felt like a mad scientist in my kitchen. I'm like, look at all these chemicals, yes. Even nowadays, my girlfriend will tell you I'm a little crazy when it comes to doing stuff with chemicals because I like letting chemicals do the work. I am the guy that but I let the dishes soak in like really extreme solvent, like really heavy amounts of soap and sometimes bleach and all that other stuff. So yeah, when I let the stuff soak, I'm like, nah, it's eaten through everything except the porous particular. All right. But when it comes to using things like this stuff, if you guys are wondering, yeah, I'm still doing it. Let's again, this is me not having to worry about the camera and all that jazz. But yeah, so I am really big on letting the chemicals do what they do. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Fun. Okay. And again, once all this stuff is out there and it's set and it's good and it's happy, then again, we can do this stuff for days. For days and days and days. But it is possible for you to make up your own little buildings out of chipboard or cardboard or whatever stuff you have and you can get a lot of stuff out there. Now, I talk a lot of crap about Games Workshop because I am not artisan. I don't have that kind of money. I'm an army painter type guy. Let's get our stuff on the table and do some pew pews. Let us do some pew pews. The pew pew, the pew pew, the wonderful pew pew. And that's really how I prefer to roll just in general. Today, after the show, I will probably drop my thing. Oh, that's oh, there it is. Yeah, today after the show, I will probably teach my girlfriend how to play Carnivale, or at least the basics of Carnivale. Remember, guys, for that side we needed 3 of these, so let's just cut out all 3. Good. And yeah, we're cutting out 3 to get that up. Now, whatever your workflow is comfortable for you, get it done. I know a lot of people that like cutting out all the pieces before they get started. Cutting out all the pieces, doing all the measurements. Now, since you guys know, I do stuff in bulk. You know, I do stuff in bulk. So I don't just make a building because I feel like making a building. I make a table. I make a whole table. So how many buildings am I going to need for this play set? You know, that's how I sit, because playing is the top. Yeah, paint, marker them on, and then afterwards, maybe stencil. Dude, stencils are great. Especially if you have an airbrush. Oh my God. Because right now these buildings that I'm putting together are some that our guy Carthulu sent me specifically for Carnivale. Okay, but you can find industrial stuff, you can find postmodern buildings. There are so many options that you have out there on them interwebs for paper models. Heck, if you know somebody like an architectural student or something, you can have them make some stuff up. But again, the art that you use for the decoupage is not nearly as important as the technique. And this technique is basic decoupage. I'm not dealing at all with composition, you know, how much stuff to put on, composition in the sense of how much stuff do I want to put on a building, or anything like that. I'm literally just getting this stuff onto the buildings so that they look relatively cool on a table. Okay, that's my entire purpose. I want stuff to be on a table and to look like it belongs there. All right, mainly so the you're ruining my immersion people don't have anything legitimate to complain about. You know, okay, not true. Mainly so that new people who see me doing this stuff, who see me playing on these boards, go, oh my God, that looks so cool. What are you doing? I want to play. All right. Again, when I'm at a store and somebody brings their kids in and their kids are like, oh, I want to play with the toys. I'm like, yes, come play with the toys. Learn how to do this. Get hooked. You know. But also, I have a decent amount of friends who really don't much care about playing, but they're really big. They're really big on hobbying. Okay, they like the art. My older brother Keanu is the one that got me into comics to start, because he liked to draw. And this, when I showed him my boards, because he came with me. Okay, so yeah, now that that's in and the other stuff has had some time to dry, let's get that second layer on there. And I'm only doing this on the show so I can get past this part and start doing the next bit, which I'll do off of, I'm going to do that off screen, but I'll probably do, I don't know, 7 or 8 more of these tonight while watching TV or something, you know, because this is also part of the Patreon. Like, at a certain level, this is what I send people. Xanathades. Just letting you know. Yeah. You know, so that they can play these. Yeah, you know, terrain for little spacemen. Exactly. I am all for that. One of my good friends, Tanya, the War Mistress, subscribe to her channel after you subscribe to her channel on YouTube, and subscribe to her channel here on Twitch after you subscribe here. She hates terrain. She is not a fan of making terrain, and I get it. You know, I definitely get it, especially when you see all of these videos out by amazingly talented people like the RP Archives, CS Models, Midwinter Minis, Narb Makes, Wylox Armories, Black Magic Crafts. All those guys do just amazing stuff. You know, those guys do amazing stuff, and they're amazing painters and amazing craftsmen. And the standard that they hold themselves to is just terrible for those of us that ain't amazing, you know. And when I say that, I mean they're making this stuff that looks amazing and fun and huge and just artisan level stuff that may as well be magic to the rest of us, while talking about how they aren't that great. It's like, dude, shut up. Yeah, you know, that's like Steven Spielberg going, yeah, but, you know, I only make okay movies, you know. I'm no Stanley Kubrick. I'm like, well, dude, I ain't even you. You know? So, yeah. So I get that. But the stuff that I like doing is the stuff that, A, I believe are in the wheelhouse of anyone, you know, because when I die, I will come back as the ghost of a craftsman. Okay, and there we go. We have both sides of a building. Boop. There. Now, real talk, this building is good to play with. Okay, I can put this on the board right now and be absolutely happy. I can do this. You know. Oh yeah, dollar store ingredients. Believe me, most of the stuff that you see here on Hobby Hall, you can find at the dollar store and at the local bodega. All right. And I will let you know, Xanathades brings up a really good point. Yeah. I will let you guys know a really big point. One of the reasons that I do stuff the way that I do, especially, is because it has taken me 22 years of hardcore crafting to get to the level where I'm comfortable with airbrushes. And yes, I have a Proxxon hot wire cutter that I spent $100. Yeah, you are. All of us, each one of us in our own way, is an Uwe Boll. We can all make movies as good as Uwe Boll. If you don't believe me, look at your Instagram. That's better than House of the Dead. And I haven't even seen your Instagram, but I'm letting you know it's better than House of the Dead. But I'm letting you guys know. This stuff, there is an old phrase when it comes to, there is a very old phrase called mystification of fields, okay? And a lot of fields, okay, you will find that a lot of fields that people deal with are mystified, okay? It's filled with jargon. It's filled with nicknames for stuff that you can use all the time. Like, you know, we talk a lot about XPS foam. We're using XPS foam. And it's like, XPS foam, yes, it is extruded polystyrene. And I'm like, okay, oh, you mean that insulation, that pink or blue insulation stuff that I get from Home Depot? Yeah, that's the, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, we can call it extruded polystyrene. We can call this, PVA glue, you know. But really, we grew up, it was Elmer's, all right? It was Elmer's glue when I was growing up. Elmer's glue, duct tape, Scotch tape, There are differences in paint, but you know what? When I was a kid, my mom used to say, take what you got, make what you want out of it. And my great grandfather used to say, buy it, build it, or do without it. And so, yeah, most of our stuff is from the dollar store. Okay, because what comes down with this channel, at least, when we talk about games, I come from the standpoint of playing. I have people on that are artists, okay? One of my closest friends, who I saw last week, is a special effects guy that doesn't do this, and I'm trying to get him into it. And I think if I can get him into miniatures and stuff like that, he is going to be a Tyranid player because he loves monsters. And this dude works on The Boys, on Evil. He did Maze Runner. He did some stuff for Black Panther. He is a special effects artist. Okay, doesn't play. And he and I talk all the time. He's like, you should come to work in my shop because yeah, we do all the same stuff. We just do it bigger. I'm like, I know. I used to work for Universal. And I wasn't nearly as good. But the whole point is that even in the professional world, they may use a bunch of phrases like, yeah, plastic card. Oh, you mean polystyrene sheets? Yeah. You know, oh, you mean those houses that say those little signs that are down the street at the neighbors that I don't really like that says yard sale? Yeah, that stuff. All right. Most of the crafting stuff I do is out of garbage and things that all of us have access to. You know, I really do. I really try. And this is one of the keys to Hobby Hall. I try not to spend more than $15 on any project. Okay, really. Unless I'm using XPS foam. When it comes to building tables, and I build tables. Or should I say, I make tables modular. Because I don't like a setup table. I've played with way too many competitive people. All right. But you guys just look at the archives on YouTube and you'll see Hobby Hall. And you guys have seen over the years, I've made hills, I've made crags, I've made walls. And all of it was from the $1.50 piece of poster board with the foam in the middle. Yeah, most of that stuff. Because one, me and Wylock, we're cut from the same piece of double corrugated cardboard. Because we like playing. We like playing games. I love, if, you know, his tagline is make things, play games. I'm like, play games. Play with what you got. If you want to play Warhammer 40K with coins, you know, hey, do what you got to do. All right. And I'm letting you guys know you don't have to use coins, and we can make our army men and all that stuff look good. I always recommend saving up your money, mowing lawns, building websites for your neighbor's grandma, to get the money together, to get yourself a decent painting set like the Reaper paint set or the Army Painter paint set, because there is a difference between paints. And that will save you a ton of complication. Like, this is fun acrylic paint. I got this and a bunch of it off of Amazon, and it was $35 for a set of like 8 different paints, and we're looking at 16 ounces per. So this was a good thing, except it's really transparent. It doesn't have a lot of pigment. And it's fine for big crafts, okay? It's really fine for big crafts. It's like the apple barrel paints and stuff like that. And I'm fine with that. But this 16 ounces, the apple barrel ones, for $1 come with like 2 to 4 ounces. So this is like 4 or 5 of those put together. I got the gallon of good acrylic black paint from the art supply store like 3 years ago. Because I use a lot of black and whites. I do a lot of grimdark. I do a lot of fantasy dungeons. So I need a lot of gray. All right. But these things, like this is from P3. These go a long way. Oh, of course, I would grab that color. Yeah, this is magenta from P3. It goes a long way, and I use a lot of inks and stuff like that. So, but you don't have to. All right, you really don't have to. Like I say, all of this stuff that we do, you get out of it as much as you're willing to put into it, and it's that simple. Okay. If you have the resources and the finances to get the stuff that's made for models and stuff like that, go for it. I recommend going to the art store, the art supply store. If you live in a college town, you have one, because colleges have art departments, and those students have to get their stuff. All right, that's where people get the oil paints and the acrylic paints and all that other stuff. But like I said, I'm big on chemistry, and if you just want to get it, pour it out of the thing, add a little water or a little bit of medium or something, and go for it, then yeah. But if you don't want to do that, use the cheap stuff. When I was teaching music, I always told my students, always get the cheapest guitar you can get. If you have a $50 piece of crap somewhere, get it. Don't get the guitar that you find at, say, the Olvera Street place or anything like that. But yeah, just do what you can to get just a decent, like $100 guitar. Okay. Cut your chops on the bad stuff. And then, and I say that from my personal experience. I've been doing crafting and all this stuff all my life because I was a poor kid. But what I couldn't do, I couldn't build train sets because I didn't know what they were built out of. I didn't know where to buy flocking and stuff like that. But I made my own play sets out of what I had. So when I finally got into the world of this stuff, the miniatures painting, the terrain building and stuff like that, I already had a whole lot of experience that I didn't know I had, and so I do all this stuff. I do this stuff. It's fun. I use the cheap stuff. If y'all can afford polystyrene, cut up a box if you want to make some, if you want to make like some mountain terrains, cut up a box, grab yourself some freaking wall grout from the store. Like seriously, it's like $5 for 10 pounds of it, and that will keep you going for years. Slather your stuff and all that, and you'll see things like you'll see things like, oh, we cover it in modeling compound. That stuff is great, but your stuff doesn't fall down the toilet if you don't have it. Way back in the old days, where men who were ancient when I was young was doing this stuff, they used spackle and cement. The construction materials are always out there. That's one of the reasons I love NARB. NARB uses a bunch of construction stuff that everybody has access to if they have access to a Home Depot or a Lowe's. So yeah, and I like being with I like making that stuff. That's what this show is for. Fortunately, I've got my inspiration back, so we'll be doing this weekly, but in the meantime, I want to thank y'all for being here. Let's see who right now is in the chat. 420, cool. Thank you for showing up. Alexis the Nexus. Oh man, I've missed you. Asuka Mikasa. Dude, where have you been? Alicidra, Black and White Now in Color, Commander Ruth, Elizabeth, thank you. I think you like us. I think you like us. You like us being here. Let's see. Ninatella. I hope you're not suggesting that we spread you on toast, although you might just be sweet. Santa Claus's gift. Hey, I'm glad that you're still with us. Xanathades, thank you for being here. Bring your friends in. Show them this episode. Ask them. That's my call to action for you guys this episode. Hey Daryl, what's up? Yeah, what I'm gonna say is on this one, my call to action for you guys is to show the people this stuff. All right, show you folks this stuff and ask them what they would decoupage. what they decoupage their sheets, their notebooks, their D&D books, their Dungeon Master screen, you know, a wall in their house, maybe their cabinets, maybe a cool work surface. One of my favorite things to decoupage is the little kid's work desk. Y'all know that plaything that you bought from Fisher Price, and it's that kind of plastic and it's got that rough part on it? Take that thing out in the back, decoupage the crap out of it, throw a whole, throw all their stickers and that stuff on it, and then cover that, Mod Podge it, and then lacquer and shellac the crap out of it so that surface will last you forever, and it will be easier to clean. Trust me. All right, guys? So with that, let's see. I can work well with cheap materials. The good stuff is a bonus. Right. If you can't work with anything but the best, what do you do if it's not available to you? Vixen, it's almost like you've been watching this show for years. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, then send me an email. All right, send me an email. Hit me up on the Discord. Just come on out and send a letter to backonthedeck@gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up at Twitter and Instagram, because everyone has the social media, even though everyone says they suck. You can also hit me up on TikTok if you're hip and doing the stuff that the people do. And of course, if you're part of that place where memes go to die and it's a wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Facebook, then come on down to Deckers on the Book, where I'll be uploading the PDF for the stuff that we did today. I'm going to be uploading that onto the thing today, just so that we can have some fun with all that stuff, and y'all show me what you decoupage and all that. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. And if anybody says that you guys can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it your race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, your disability, or your budget, you can tell them to stop pulling that card and put it back in the deck. And somebody said I should workshop a new thing. So this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to change my sign out thing. Just take whichever cards people play on you and apply it to yourself. All right. So if you are from a different creed or a different culture and people are like, hey, blah, 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 we're here for you. All right. That's the whole thing. But I do my best to be inclusive. Y'all know all of that. In the meantime, join us tomorrow here in the Hobby Hall. And we're going to show you some more really cool stuff. All right, guys. All right. I will see you guys then. Later.